Good morning, students. You able to hear me? Okay, thank you. So last class we have seen about Google, the home smart home assistants. We have seen about Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa. So we have seen the features on how the two home automation systems are going to work and help you in achieving the required degree of smartness in your house and how you can control things using Amazon Alexa and Google Home Assistant. We have seen that. So now we are going into the second half of this unit where we are going to focus on the sensors. So sensors are the very crucial devices for any smart house because they are going to sense a physical parameter, and if it is going to be at a dangerous level, you are going to alert something, right? So you are going to take some action. So we are going to see about sensors. So we have so many sensors given in our syllabus. So we will see them one by one. Okay, so this the next classes, whatever we are going to study, is completely about the sensors. Okay, how the sensor is going to work and how we are going to interface the sensor to your smart house. So that is what we are going to see. So first one is we are going to see about image sensor. Okay, so image sensor is just like your camera only or your surveillance camera, you can say. So what is the sensor? So we are going to see what is the sensor, what are the types of sensors, and then what is an image sensor. So what are the types of image sensors you have in the current market? What is a CCD charge coupled device? So what is CMOS? And we are going to compare the performance measures of CCD and CMOS, application of image sensor, where it is used, and we are going to go for the conclusion. So this is what the session is about. We are going to see about image sensor, the sensors in general, and first one we are going to see about the image sensor. Okay. So see here, what is the sensor? A sensor is a transducer or it is a device which measures a physical quantity. That physical quantity may be pressure, temperature, voltage, current. It may be any physical quantity, and it is going to convert that into a signal which can be read by an observer or an instrument. So you are having a temperature sensor in your house. In your clock nowadays, all the LED clocks have temperature sensor. They will display the temperature alive. So the current temperature, if you see, you can see that. So whatever they measure actually temperature in terms of voltage. But if they display that voltage, it will not be meaningful information to you, right? So they have to convert that voltage into temperature or into a meaningful information which can be read by an observer. It may be a human being who is going to see the temperature, or it may be another instrument which is waiting for some input from the sensor. So sensor is going to measure a physical quantity, and it is going to convert that physical quantity into a signal which can be read by either an observer who is at a distance, or it is going to be read by another instrument. For example, see here, an example is given. You have a thermocouple. A thermocouple converts temperature into an output voltage. Thermocouple, you take a metal, and one end you will dip the metal in a hot liquid. One end you dip the metal in a cold, keep it in a cold temperature. Because of the difference in temperature, you have output voltage generated. So that is going to be the thermocouple. The thermocouple is going to convert the temperature change into voltage. So with this, I can convert this temperature into voltage, and I can read it by an voltmeter. So voltmeter will clearly say how much volt I have, but it will just say 2 volt. But what is the information conveyed by 2 volt? Only when you understand the working of thermocouple, you will know what is the 2 volt equal to. So the difference in temperature will be multiplied by some constant value. That total multiplication factor answer is going to be equal to 2. Okay, so this is how a sensor is going to work. For accuracy, all the sensors need to be calibrated. So calibrated means once you simply weigh something in the market, they will always ensure that the weight starting from zero. So they will set the zero setting. Correct. Many of you would have seen that in a supermarket when you go and weigh any product, initially they will set the or weighing machine to zero, just to ensure that the reading what you get from the machine is accurate after you calibrate it. So just like in petrol bunks also, they will ask you before filling zero, check the zero. So that is just to a calibration. So from zero means it is the process is going to start. So that is the standard that all sensors have to be calibrated. So calibration means before beginning to observe any physical quantity, you have to start from the standard value. So that is going to be called as calibration. And most probably all these sensors values will start from zero. Okay, the types of sensors we have. So we have lot of sensors. One is thermal energy sensors, which will convert thermal into thermal energy into any other form. The thermocouple, what we said, electromagnetic sensors, which will convert electric field into magnetic field. Mechanical sensors, so which will convert your mechanical movement into electrical signal. Chemical sensors, which convert the rate of chemical reaction into equivalent potential. You have a battery cell. So battery cell chemical reaction takes place and you have an equivalent voltage, right? So that is a chemical sensor. Optical and radiation sensors. So any all living beings emit radiation. So if you want to observe the radiation emitted by human being, you can go for radiation sensor. So it will detect what all radiations are emitted by a human body. Acoustic sensors, so which will convert sound signals, physical quantities into sound signals. Biological sensors, which are going to do the operations relating to the biological functions. So these are the different sensors available in the market, and we are going to focus about image sensor. Okay, so the first topic of the day is going to be image sensor. The image sensor is unlike a traditional camera. This is not you cannot call it as a camera because it's a sensor. It is going to have a purpose. But camera, you capture an image and you may use the image or you might not use the image. But the information from the image sensor is very very vital because it is going to do its own specific job. So image sensor is a photosensitive device that converts light signals into digital signals. So it is going to convert light into digital. So light means it contains various colors. Predominantly the three colors RGB. So I'm going to convert that RGB into fixed values called digital signals. And it is used to film and store an image, used to capture and store an image. So it can capture the image in the form of light and store the image in the form of digital signals. So digital signals means some discrete value. You know that RGB are the primary colors, right? So and RGB, so the red, green, and blue. So all red can take values from 0 to 255. Green can take values from 0 to 255. Blue can take values from 0 to 255. So if you capture an image, it will contain three planes. One is red plane, green plane, and blue plane. And among that, all the planes, the image is a matrix. I told you, assume you have a 4 cross 4 matrix. It will have 16 elements, right? And each element will be having three values, R, comma, G, comma, B. And each of this R, G, and B can take values from 0 to 255. Why 0 to 255? If I consider an 8-bit number, number is having 8 bits means it can go from 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, all 8 zeros to all 8 ones. All 8 zeros is 0, the decimal equivalent is 0. All 8 ones, the decimal equivalent is 255. So it is going to be 0 to 255. That is how the range is going to be fixed. Okay. So when you mix all the R, G, and B, you'll get the color image. So while capturing the image, it is going to be in the form of colors only. It will capture, and while storing, it will be storing in the form of a matrix, and each matrix will have red, green, and blue values. So image sensors contain millions of photosensitive diodes known as photosites. So they consist of lot of sensors which are very sensitive to light. Okay, they capture the information in light using the devices called as photosites. So when you take picture, the camera shutter opens briefly and each photosite on the image sensor records the brightness of the light that falls on it by accumulating photons. So you know how one camera is going to operate. So when I'm going to click a picture means the camera shutter will be opening for a very, very short amount of time. And whatever amount of light falling on that particular sensor is captured, is recorded. So that is the brightness. So amount of photons it is going to accumulate, it is going to record the brightness. The more the light is going to hit the sensor means it will have more photons, so the brightness will be very high. So the brightness is proportional to So I can say the brightness is proportional to the amount of photons which are going to be hit on the sensor. Okay, so that is what is given here. The more the light hits the photo site, the more photon it is going to record. Okay, the brightness recorded by each photosite is stored as a set of numbers. So it will record the number of photons, but how will you quantify the photons? By the colors R, G, and B. And each one can take the values from 0 to 255. So that can be used to set the color and brightness of single pixel on the screen or ink on the printed page to reconstruct the image. I told you each sensor is given a name pixel. Pixel means it is a picture element. Okay, so it has the capability to capture to estimate the amount of light falling on it and store the same thing in a digital fashion. Okay, so I'm going to do that here. Okay, so I'm going to store it in a digital fashion, and when I'm going to retrieve that, I'll be showing the converting that back into color. Okay, because human beings cannot interpret numbers 0 to 255, right? We don't know what is 255, what is 0. So visually, we want to see in the form of color, but storage happens in computer in the form of digital values. Okay, so this is a simple example of the shutter being open and how the image is being captured inside the photo element. So you see here, the mirror is moved up and the CCD sensor is exposed. And these sensors will be capturing the amount of light falling on each of them, which is going to lead to capturing an image. Okay. So image sensor history before 1960. So mainly film photography was done, and not individual photography was not that famous because you don't have the handheld devices what you have now, and vacuum tubes were mainly used. So in the from 1960 to 75, many research was done in the field of CCD and CMOS. CCD is charge coupled device. So we have seen this CCD in when we have seen about video cameras and camcorders. The same thing. CCD is a charge coupled device, and CMOS is a technology. It is a transistor technology, complementary metal oxide semiconductor. So it is a transistor technology. So research was extensively going on in the 1960 to 75 in these areas. And from 1975 to 1990, then commercialization of CCD. They found that CCD was very apt to film photography. So the commercialization of CCD, they started manufacturing CCD devices which should be fit inside your photographic devices, and commercialization took place. And in 1990, the emergence of CMOS. The CMOS took ahead the race from CCD, and amorphous silicon also came into picture. So there are different materials which are contributing to the photography. One is CCD, next is CMOS, and the next one is amorphous silicon. The types of image sensors. So we have two types of image sensors predominantly used. One is called a CCD, charge coupled device. Second one is complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It is called a CMOS. So it is a transistor technology which is used nowadays. So conventional transistors like BJT is not used nowadays, and we go for CMOS technology because it is very compact and it is also going to save huge amount of power in my budget. Okay, so that is why the two predominant technologies used are CCD and CMOS. So what is CCD? So the abbreviation of CCD is charge coupled devices. So they are silicon based integrated circuits consisting of matrix of photodiodes. So I told you, right? So the total how many photodiodes you have, that is the maximum size of your image. If I have 1000 x 1000 photodiodes inside my camera, then the maximum picture size what I can store is 1000 x 1000 only. The maximum dimension I'm talking about. Okay, so your CCDs consist of array itself. You will see that it is going to be a matrix arrangement of photodiodes, so which are going to be, photodiode. The operation principle is light has to be the input and output is energy. Output is in the form of voltage or current or charge. Okay, so they need light for operating. So they convert light energy into electronic charge, or they can convert photon into charge. And how the charge is coupled by the interaction between the subsequent wells, the charge is going to be transferred. The electrons generated by the interaction of photons with silicon atoms are stored in a potential well. So remember, when light is going to fall on these photodiodes, it is going to generate electrons, and these electrons are going to be stored inside a potential well. And see, potential well means it will be like a tub where the electrons will be stored, and they can be transferred through resistors and output to amplifiers. So you can serially transfer all the electrons from one well to another well by applying proper signals. So that is what is charge coupled. Coupled means the electrons are coupled from one well to another using the appropriate signal. So remember, CCD is going to be matrix arrangement of photodiode, and photodiode, how it is going to work? It is going to work on light. So when light is going to fall on the photodiode, it is going to generate equivalent charge. So I am going to store all these charges in a particular well, and these charges are transferred through resistors to the output. And how many amount of electrons I'm going to store, that is going to be the brightness of the light falling on me on my photodiode. So if I have 5 electrons, proportionately brightness will be proportional to 5. If I have 100 electrons, brightness will be very, very high because I have more number of electrons produced because the light intensity was very, very high. You see, this is a simple example of this is a charge coupled device, and you see how minute it is. Maybe I'll zoom it. You cannot even find the photodiode here. So this is containing millions of pixels. To that much high, when more number of pixels you are going to use, the resolution is going to be very, very good. The resolution is going to be very good. You can capture even minute details of image using your charge coupled device. But again, when the number of pixels are going to be very, very high, storage also becomes a problem because the memory requirement is very high. You see that normal film you are downloading from internet, it will be 700 MB. That same thing, if you download in HD, it will be 1.5 GB. So it is doubling up, right? So when you want your clarity to be very, very high, you have to compromise on the memory requirement will be naturally very high, and it will also become costly. Cost aspect also will be becoming high. That's why when the digital cameras came, they were very popular and they were very costly because technology inside was that the CCDs were able to capture a very high resolution images. But with mobile phones having a very high-end camera, those digital cameras are not popular nowadays because mobile phone has an inbuilt camera which has a very decent resolution for you to take images. So this is your CCD. And remember, you will have millions of photodiodes along the row and along the column. So it forms the matrix. So along the row and column, that is going to be the matrix arrangement. What is CMOS? So CMOS is going to be the particular digital circuit which is going to implement the circuit on integrated circuits. See, when you want to build a circuit in a compact way, you want to build a handheld device means it has to be in the size of your palm only. So if it is in the size of a textbook means that's not a handheld device, right? So for that size to become small and small, I'm going to go for CMOS design. So CMOS is going to ensure that the size component is going to be very, very less in your design. Also see here, CMOS dissipates less power. So it is going to be dense. The denser means you can put more CMOS circuits in a given space compared to the other technologies available. So first thing is compact. Compact means it is very light in weight. Next one, it can hold more devices than the conventional technology available. Then it is going to dissipate less power. The power requirement is also very, very less. So CMOS, as the name indicates, is complementary. Complementary means opposite. So it consists of one P type and one N type MOSFET. So P type will have holes. Holes means positive charge. N type will have electrons. Electrons means negative charge. So I told you it is complementary MOS, right? So opposite charges, you will have holes and electrons, which are going to be used to implement the logic gates and other digital circuits. So all your computers, all the telecommunication equipment, signal processing equipment nowadays are being upgraded with CMOS because CMOS technology is the upcoming technology. And using CMOS technology, I can make my circuit as small as possible. So even to nanometer scale, you can reduce your circuit. So that level of compression is possible using CMOS technology. Okay, so this is an example of a CMOS chip. You see, you have This is your CMOS chip, and around the chip you will have the pins. Around the chip, this is going to be, I think it is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 12 pins you have. So it is a 48 pin CMOS chip. So depending on the what are the pins and what are the configurations you want, you can make. Okay, this is going to be this is magnified, so it will look big, but it will be just the size of a matchbox. So imagine the size of a matchbox. You have millions of transistors inside. As you know, CMOS is very compact and dense. It has millions of transistors inside this square area. And what is the comparison between CMOS and CCD? So CMOS image sensors can incorporate other circuits in the same chip, eliminating the many separate chips required for CCD. CCD is a completely different technique, but CMOS is nowadays it is becoming very popular, right? So CMOS can work with other circuits on the same chip. In an IC chip, you will have different modules, right? So CMOS can co-work with all other modules, but that is not the case with CCD. For CCD, you want separate modules to be designed for the CCD. But for CMOS, you can co-work with all the modules existing on the chip. So this allows additional add-on features to be added at little extra cost. So if you want to add a module additionally to the CMOS photo sensor, I can do that. I can do that with no extra cost. So the extra cost is not required because in CMOS everything is integrated. So if you want to capture the image, store it and perform operation like image stabilization and image compression. Image stabilization and image compression, I can do that at no extra cost because the CMOS is going to work with all the other features. Not only does this make the camera smaller, lighter, and cheaper, it also requires less power so the batteries can last longer. So I told you the CMOS is very compact, right? So the camera will become smaller, lighter, and cheaper, and the CMOS is going to consume less power, so the batteries are going to last longer. The CMOS image sensors and switch can switch modes on the fly between still photography and video. So if you are going to take a video, if you're going to switch from still photography to video, the CMOS can do that very quickly. They can change the modes from still photography to video. CMOS sensors excel in the capture of outdoor pictures on sunny days. They suffer in low light conditions. So when you are going to capture outdoor pictures on a sunny day, uh, when you have low lighting condition, the CMOS sensors are going to do that. They are going to compensate that effect for you. So in you normal conditions, when you're going to suffer in low light conditions on sunny days, they appear brighter. In low light conditions, sometimes the clarity becomes poorer. Sensitivity to light is decreased because each part of photo site is covered with a circuitry that filters out noise and performs other function. So sensitivity is somewhat decreased because photos are covered with a filter. The filter is going to remove the noise and perform all other functions. So compared to CCD, the sensitivity of the photo sites used in the CMOS is comparatively less. The percentage of pixel devoted to collecting light is called as a pixel's fill factor. So pixel is one element of a matrix. So that is what you have to visualize. Pixel is, if you have a 4 by 3 matrix, each element of matrix is a pixel. And inside each element of matrix, how much you are going to fill it with the photo size, that is going to be called as fill factor. But CCDs, they are going to have 100% fill factor. But CMOS, the fill factor is comparatively rarely used in CMOS, but it is perfectly used in the CCDs for capturing the images. Okay, that is what is the comparison. So I cannot say CCD is better or CMOS is better. CCD is also having very good features. CMOS also having very good features. So depending on the application, your power requirement, your memory requirement, your compactness, and your clarity of the image required, all these factors when you consider, you can come to a conclusion whether I'm going to use CCD or CMOS technology for my image sensor. So application of image sensor. So image sensor is used predominantly in digital cameras. Okay, digital cameras, you have this image sensor, personal digital, and you have you have this equipment is available in developed countries. They call it as PDA. It is just like a computer which can process your incoming message, or you can contact them. It's just like a miniature form of a phone, but you can do all the programmings which you can do using a computer. You can open MS Out, you can go open MS Word type of document, you can open MS Outlook and see a mail, you can read the text message, you can read MMS, everything you can do it using a PDA. PDA is personal digital assistance. Okay, PDA. It is just like, I would say, it is a mini computer. You even have a mobile, you can insert a SIM card and you can use it as a mini computer. Camcorders, we have seen handheld devices which are used to capture live videos, camcorders. So these Chinese technology is used in camcorders for capturing high quality live images. Toys and robot, the we have to simulate the human into the robot, right? In that case, I'm using this CCD sensor. That way, the robot can see what is before it, so it can get a clear picture of what is before it. So you will have a lot of sensors of the robot, which will be capturing the image in front of it periodically, and it will be either are decided by the robot based on the image sensor, which is fitted in the eye portion. Okay, so you can have a 360, you can have a 180-degree view. So you cannot see what is inside the backside of you. 180 degrees, you can have a complete view. When you turn, you can have a remaining 180 degrees view of what objects are around you, and you can plan your movements accordingly. Okay, so either you are going to turn right or turn left, or you are going to move forward or backward, or axis of action. And fingerprint scanner, yes. So as you see here, you have below, you have amount of height that fingerprint is being scanned and it is matched with the instrument. If you find that the fingerprint what the finger what you keep the fingerprint of the finger what you keep on the instrument is available in the database, you will be authorized. Otherwise, it will say unauthorized user. So these are the very, very simple examples where you have the technology available with you in the day-to-day life. Some other applications of image sensor, you can have biometrics, what we have seen just now, biometrics based attendance system, biometric based authentication. If you have a very secret room where nobody, only authorized person should enter, then you have this biometric at the entrance, and those who are authorized only, they can keep their biometric and enter. Others cannot even enter the room. Optical mouse, you have an optical mouse is based on image sensor. So the mouse position now, previously we had electrical mouse, we have a rotating ball inside, but now we have everything is optical. So based on the position of the mouse or how you move, the movement is shown on the screen. So optical movement is converted into electrical movement. And finally, video conferencing. Yes, you can transmit audio and video over the distance. Whenever any people is away from you or in any part of the world they are in, you can do video conferencing using all these image sensor based devices. Using all these image sensor based devices. Conclusion. So image sensors are emergent solution for practically every automation every automation focused machine vision application. So image sensors are solution for any machine vision. You want to see something and do some processing, you can go for any machine vision based application. For example, in robots, you want to visually scan something, you can go for machine vision based application. So whenever new application process software implementation are growing day by day, so it is going to lead to the growth of image sensor technology in the future. Okay, so new application fields will be definitely coming, and it will lead to the growth of image sensor technology in the near future. So we cannot say I'm satisfied with this much. No, the technology is growing daily, and definitely we can see a lot of technologies coming up in the near future. which can play a good role in the image sensing technology. So one sensor system is over. Now I have one more image sensor based presentation. We'll see that. So the first one is over. I'm closing it. The second one, this definition of sensor we have seen, it is going to convert the physical phenomenon into a measurement output, a meaningful measurement output. So it converts physical quantity into a signal which is read by the observer. So what is we have seen this. Now see how to choose a sensor. So choosing a sensor depends on environment where it is going to work. There are many sensors that work well and predictably inside, but when you keep them in real-time situations, they will not work. So when you test the sensors, it will work perfectly inside your house. But when you keep the sensor in ocean or a desert where the temperature is very high, they will miserably fail. So you have to clearly choose the environment where you are going to place your sensor. Next one is range. How much distance my sensor is going to work? So if something comes very close, they don't they are unsure of what is happening, and if something is very far, they cannot detect it. So you must have a meaningful range where the sensors will detect a physical phenomenon. So there should be a minimum distance and maximum distance for a sensor which can work in that particular range and sense a physical parameter. Next, field of view will say what is your view direction. So in your field of view, how many objects are detected per sensor, so that it will give less information about what exactly an object is when one is detected. So your field of view should be very broad so that you detect more persons in your particular sensing area. Okay, so all these factors you have to consider them before you choose sensor. First one is environment, next one is range, and next one is field of view. So types of sensors we have seen. So image sensor, it is going to convert your optical into electrical image. And pixel, I told you, assume this is your 4 cross 4 matrix. So this is one pixel, this is second pixel, this is third pixel, and this is fourth pixel. So pixel is going to be the smallest discrete component of image or picture on a CRT screen. So in this, you have 4 pixels. So each pixel is a sample of original image, where the more samples if you provide, the image will be accurately depicted. If less sample is given, the image will not be accurately depicted. So fill factor, I told you. So how in one fill in one pixel, how much percentage of light is how much percentage is how much is sensitive to light. So here you see in one pixel, 25 percentage of area is sensitive to light. So the fill factor is, if a circuit covers 25% of photo size, the sensor is said to have fill factor of 75. So 75 percentage is allowed for the light to fall on the pixel. 25 percentage is going to be for the circuit. So the fill factor is going to be 75 percentage. So the higher the fill factor, that's more the sensitivity of the sensor. Okay, so this one we have seen. This see the pictorial representation of CCD and CMOS image sensor. You have a lot of pins. You can connect them, and you can get the data what is captured by the CCD and the CMOS technology. So CCD is based on photodiode. So as we have seen, this one we have seen. See here, so the incoming visible light will pass through the IR blocking filter, and it will go through the color filter also controls the color light, and it is falling on the color plane sensor. So these sensor convert light into electricity. Okay, so you have several filters before the light actually falls on the CCD. So finally, when the light is going to fall on the photosensitive area of your CCD, you can have the electricity is proportional to the amount of light falling on your device. So two types of CCDs are used. One is interline transfer CCD. Second one is frame transfer CCD. So interline means, so you have a horizontal data transfer and then vertical data transfer. You have both horizontal and vertical. So you see the from the pixel, the data is given to vertical lines, and all these vertical lines will provide data to the horizontal line. So this is how you get the output. But here also frame transfer. So frame means you will be transferring one frame at a time. Okay, so you will be having along all the photodiodes, you will be having vertical, and that will contribute to the horizontal data transfer. So here, pixel and photodiode are different. You have separate pixel, separate photodiode, and separate vertical data transfer channel. But here, everything is same. The pixel is also here. The photodiode is also here. The data transfer channel is also here. Okay, so you have vertical and horizontal data transfer channels, which are going to store the image of store the electrical data of your output. The frame transfer technology uses simple technology and achieves a very high fill factor than the interline transfer. But interline transfer is used for a better spectral response. Spectral response means when the number of colors are there in your photo, that is good using interline transfer. So interline transfer is used for snapshot operation, and charge transfer is subject to corruption. So sometimes the charge what you get stored may be corrupted by photo detection. And frame transfer chip area can be larger for interline transfer. So most of the CCDs today, they are going interline transfer. Interline transfer is first one. You have a separate pixel, PD, and the vertical data transfer. And you have horizontal to collect all the data from the vertical data transfer channels. CMOS, as we have seen, it is going to dissipate less power. The compactness is very good, and it is going to be easy to process. Operation of CMOS, you have a pixel matrix, you have addressing bars, and then you take the output and amplify it and given for the post processing. So each image sensor will convert the charge to voltage, and sensor includes amplifiers and other signal processing devices to do the signal processing. So with each pixel doing its conversion, the uniformity is lower. So as shown, the CMOS image sensor consists of a large pixel matrix which will take care of the incoming light. Okay. So types of CMOS image sensor, you have active pixel image sensor and a passive pixel image sensor. So uh, this is the active pixel image sensor. You have a PD. Before that, you have below that you have potential well, so that the equivalent electrons are generated because the light is going to fall on the PD. And this is passive pixel, so you have electrical data input and electrical data output, and you have the silicon photonics engine. Okay, it will convert the light into thing. So the comparison we have seen, sensing color. So depending on the incoming light, you filter it, you have a sensor array, and you have resulting pattern. So you have RGB filters. So that will go into our red filter means it will allow only red. Green filter will allow only green. Blue filter will allow only blue. So when you combine everything, you get the complete RGB matrix. That is how processing is done. You don't have a single filter for filtering RGB. So you are going to filter the basic colors separately, and you are going to separately get the values. When you merge everything, you get the complete RGB representation of an image. The application of image sensor in space and military, automotive. Automotive, you have motion sensors in cars nowadays. In space and military, you have nowadays, you see NASA is sending spaceships to Mars, and you are able to have a clear look of Mars. All these are possible because of the photo sensors. Medical, you have a pill which can go inside the body, and doctors can see what the path is traveled by the pill inside the body. Security and surveillance, everybody is using it in your house. Biometric attendance and authorization, we have seen. Digital still cameras, PDAs, we have seen. Digital video cameras, video cam connected to your laptops. Barcode readers, it's also a form of image sensor, and toys, where you have machine vision in the eyes of the robot. So all these are going to be the different applications of image sensor. And digital cameras, you have the digital cameras here, which are used, PDAs, camcorders, robots, fingerprint, virtual keyboard. So you can project virtual keyboard, and as you press the keys, you can have the corresponding action here. So that mapping is done by the separate processing software. So everything is based on image sensing only. So self-parking car, so it will read what all objects are there above, below, before, and after the car, and accordingly the car will be parking. You have to activate the car in self-parking mode. So when you activate self-parking mode, the car will enable the machine vision. So it will look for obstacles before and backside the car, and accordingly it will park the car in the available limited space. This is available in Toyota Prius version of the car. And lane control, automatically you can control the lane in which the car is going. The car will not go outside the lane. It will constantly see in which lane it is going. So you can go for lane control and night vision. So you can use IR cameras for detecting people in the night vision. Okay, and you have endoscopy capsules where you can have these capsules, and these capsules can go inside and detect, give a clear picture of in case of any abnormalities you have inside any of the organs. These can scan the area and give you clear pictures. And now you have cameras. You can insert catheters inside your body, and you can have clear picture of what is happening inside your body. So medical technology has used this image sensing to a larger extent. So image sensor applications in medicine, you have artificial retina, ocular surgery, dental surgery. Ocular is, I think, relating to your eyes. Dental surgery, you have lasers treating for dental. You can break your teeth using laser power, the laser light that is possible. Wireless capsule endoscopy, normal endoscopy, all the laboratory equipments using machine vision, minimal invasive surgery. So instead of cutting your skin and operating, now all the technologies focused about minimally invasive. How without cutting you can treat a particular wound. External observation, X-ray imaging. So all these are the latest technology where image sensors are being used extensively in the medical field. Okay, extensively used in the medical field. The security market, you see that in 2013, the CCDs are dominating compared to the CMOS. But I can say slowly the technology is growing where CMOS will overtake CCD, and certain applications require CCD and certain applications require CMOS. So you cannot really compare the two technologies. They are, each one has their own merits and demerits. So I think that is what we have for the day. So today we have discussed about the image sensor. So okay. So likewise in this unit we have a lot of sensors which we have to understand the operating principle of sensor, and these sensors we have to use it in our smart home for specific application. Image sensor mostly used in surveillance, or it can be used for authorization. It can be used in your smart lock. All these things you have to see where you can fit in these sensors in your smart home. So that is what I have for the day.